how can I be the thing that I want to see in my group? I remember talking to Avery Willis about this, and he asked me if I was following Jesus, just straightforward. And I was like, well, I'm trying. I'm doing my best to follow Jesus. And he said, well, is anyone following you? And I kind of remember feeling uncomfortable about that. Like, I don't really want people to follow me. I want people to follow Jesus. And he said, well, Paul didn't have a problem with people following him. He said, follow me as I follow Christ. And I was like, okay, well, but I'm not Paul and I'm not Jesus. I'm just Jimmy Harris. And he said, well, which duck does the third baby duck see? I remember it just completely didn't make any sense to me. I was kind of sat back and I went, which duck does the third? I said, I don't know, the mama duck? And he was like, nope. And then I felt kind of dumb, like, I don't know which duck. So I sat there for a while and I was thinking about it. And it's like, oh, well, the third baby duck sees the second baby duck. And they're both following the mama duck, but the reality is that as they're waddling along and following, they can't all be looking at the mama duck. They're all following the mama duck, but ultimately they're looking at the person in front of them and they're trying to figure out how to live. So when Jesus said it'd be better for me to leave and for the counselor to come, or the Holy Spirit to come, what he was saying is, like, this apprenticeship program is going to continue on through you and the Holy Spirit. And it'll be better for me not to be here. You know, you can imagine if Jesus could only disciple us one at a time or 12 at a time, we would never be able to reach the entire world. But instead, he created an apprenticeship that continues on and on and on, where we're being apprenticed into following Jesus, and as we follow Jesus, we're helping other people to follow Jesus along with us. But we're all a little bit uncomfortable with that. But the truth is that if you are following Jesus, then people are following you. The person right in front of you is the person you're learning from, the person that's closest to you, the person that you're in relationship with. And so we are literally, we say this, we're the hands and feet of Christ. That means that we're the most likely way that someone's going to learn how to follow Jesus. It's in relationship that happens. And the idea that you want to get out of the way so that everybody can just follow Jesus, what it ends up doing is just basically getting you off the hook from becoming like Jesus yourself. And the idea of that means that I'm picking up some of the responsibility for the people that are around me. And so when Jesus invites us into discipleship, he is actually inviting us into an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is where you have a master and you have a student. And the student isn't just learning all of the tricks of that trade, they're actually becoming like the teacher the more they hang out and spend time with the teacher. And so we have this picture of becoming like someone. I had a small group leader once who was frustrated with their group because he wanted to have this really open group where people were sharing their lives and their hearts and their struggles, and nobody was doing that. And so I asked him, are you doing that? You know, have you shared anything vulnerable in the group? You know, and he thought about it and he said, well, I really haven't shared anything vulnerable. And I said, well, then you're making perfect disciples of you, right? You have people who are being shallow in imitation of you being shallow. And I don't think he believed me that it would make that much of a difference. But when he went back and just the very first night was very transparent, really open, talked about their struggles, the whole group opened up. And immediately, the dynamic of the group changed. And you know, these are the kinds of things that you learn as you begin to go, well, wait a minute. Maybe the best reflection of my walk with Christ isn't me. Maybe the best reflection of my walk with Christ is the people around me that I'm discipling, rather than looking sort of back and going, well, how come you're not doing this? We have to kind of say, well, why am I not leading the way? And take some responsibility ourselves. We tend to think of every single person as an individual, but we're not. We are a group, and whatever we're doing is going to actually be reflected in our group. And so if we reflect openness, then the group is going to reflect us. And that's leadership. In its simplest way, leadership is influence. And one of the main ways that you're going to have influence is by reflecting exactly what you want to see.